We get out, Puff pull out first. We pull out behind him. He blow past the light.
Looks like it's time for some spicy revelations, and apparently they may shed more light on Puff Diddy's dubious activities and his role in Biggie's shooting. Lil Cease, a rapper and close friend of the demised rap legend, was not just a bystander in this tragedy, and now he seems to be giving us more details on why this case remains unsolved for almost 3 decades. The tragic night that silenced the rap legend, Christopher Wallace, known to the world as the notorious B.i.g, or Biggie Smalls, Lil Cease, was one of the few witnesses of the events. And apparently, he's now coming with previously unheard details of Puffy's crazy behavior that may just expose his involvement in this crime.
Say nothing, then yell nothing. Just pop, 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 pop. And by that time, his truck had came back around.
As you know, Diddy's car was ahead of the truck where Biggie and Lil Cease were driving, and when the vehicles reached the traffic light, Diddy's driver kept on going while Biggie's car was forced to stop. And that decision cost the rap legend his life. Now, it may look like just a mere coincidence, but in fact, as Lil Cease is saying, it seems like Puff had it all planned. And it's not just him who thinks that the entire operation was meticulously crafted. Gene Deal, who was part of Puff's security crew back in the 90s, also set the record straight. According to him, the shadowy figure responsible for Biggie's shooting was lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
The stories they tell, it's not truthful. Wasn't no drive-by. Car was standing there at the corner.
So, drive-by shooting seems like the official version of the events, but everyone who's been around on that fateful night definitely has another vision of this story. As soon as Gene Deal claimed that people were just spinning a web of lies to cover for the real culprit of this crime, it became clear that something deeper and darker going on. Apparently, someone desperately wanted to unalive the king of rap, and thanks to new revelations, we may soon find the guilty individual behind this crime.
Before we left Andre Harrell's house, Puff told me I didn't have to go.
I mean, there exists the so-called official version of how Biggie had lost his life, but according to many insiders and witnesses, Gene Deal included, they do not reflect the real picture of what had happened. As he said in his interview, it just hurts because they lied too much. A lot of that stuff belies the way they put it together because they listening to these white boys who wasn't even there. Now you might be wondering, what's the real tea? Well, here's the ultimate thought that Lil Cease seems to share with the rest of the hip-hop community. Diddy trying to silence Biggie, and he wishes he could come forward with his revelations earlier.
Because I was just stressed, man. Crying, scared, nervous.
Now, most people agree that Biggie was too talented to dance to Diddy's tune for the rest of his life. And apparently, using his growing connections in the rap world, he began negotiating better deals with other labels. And that, according to many people, make his boss Puffy extremely jealous. He didn't want to share his piggy bank with anyone else and chose to silence his own artist. And in fact, Biggie had plans to leave Bad Boy Records. Just months before his untimely demise, he had his sights set on greener pastures. He was all set to spread his wings and launch his own record label, leaving Bad Boy in the dust as soon as he met his contractual obligations.
Big was showing me a contract because I was saying to Big, Big was like, yo, Gene, I like you. I would take you with me, bruh.
And don't be fooled by those flashy photos of Puffy and Biggie. It was all a facade. According to the inside scoop, they were never the BFs they pretended to be. Even Biggie's mom felt in her heart that Diddy was not a friend for her son. In her memoir, she wrote, "I believe Sean loved my son after he was shot. I used to tell Christopher all the time not to trust Sean." Apparently, Biggie also realized how he got jerked around just like all the other artists on Bad Boy, but the twist was that he got set up on his way out. And guess what? Quite quickly after making that decision, he lost his life. Now, many people don't say it's some kind of coincidence. As one person commented, "I've never heard Puffy state that he was going to find Biggie's shooter throughout the years. I see why now." And another user added, "Fake friend set up Biggie. He had to play it this way to make it look like East Coast, West Coast, West Coast revenge. Perfect cover." Now, the story gets even interesting when you see that timing was just perfect for Puffy. So, he's about to lose his most profitable artist, and the things with the West Coast rappers don't go as smooth after Tupac's demise. Looks like an ideal setup for another fatal shooting to even the score between the rivals. And that's why Diddy made a reckless decision to take his crew, Biggie included, to Los Angeles, right to the enemy's territory.
He was supposed to go to London that night. And, I let him talk me into, not going to London and staying in LA.
Things took a sinister turn shortly after the East Coast crew left the Vibe Awards after party. So picture this, 3 cars were waiting for them outside. Diddy led the way in an SUV, and Biggie and his crew, including Lil Cease, hopped into a Suburban. They were followed by security. And only one person among them all knew that it was Biggie's last party ever. So, you know what happened next. Diddy's car rushed through a yellow light like there was no tomorrow, leaving Biggie and the security car at the red light. It was at that moment that a white Toyota Land Cruiser made a grand entrance, squeezing itself right between the two cars, and a Chevrolet Impala pulled up alongside Biggie.
And before you know it, a car just rolled up, started popping in the car. Didn't say nothing, didn't yell nothing, just pop, 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 pop.
And as the entire crew watched in shock, disbelief, and horror at the rap legend slowly losing his life, you may now wonder why Lil Cease suddenly came forward with his revelations so many years later. So, it's time to delve deeper into the bond between Lil and Biggie Smalls, a friendship that started in the gritty neighborhoods of Brooklyn, New York. These two young men, born into the turbulence of the 80s, had to navigate their way through poverty, crime, and adversity. Their backgrounds may have been different, but as Lil Cease said in his interview, their connection was nothing short of remarkable.
He knew where my heart was, and out of all the little young guys, I was the one that probably was reachable talking-wise.
Cease and Biggie quickly forged a bond that transcended the typical definitions of friendship. It became more of a brotherhood, and you can see that the sudden demise of his friend impacted Lil Cease way too much. As he shared in his interview, the loss of his friend shocked him to the core that he poured his emotions into his art. I really started rapping after Biggie passed, when I had to write my album. In them times before that, Biggie was writing the raps for me. So, you can see, guys, why Lil Cease wants this case to be solved. His friend deserves peace, and his family and friends have been thirsty for justice. While the truth was covered in shadows for way too long, it's time to expose the demons that are guilty in this hideous crime.
I don't know why people always get the story twisted, and if people who ever see me tell the story, I told it the same way over 100 times.
Biggie's demise looked like a logical end of a fierce and tragic rivalry between the East Coast and West Coast hip-hop scenes. And while many were pointing fingers at the West Coast since everything happened on their territory, it's definitely more to tell in this story. And in fact, the entire thing with both Pac and Biggie's fatal shootings can be nothing more but a plan orchestrated by Diddy to rise to the new heights of success with his Bad Boy label.
And a lot of people that speak on this, y'all don't know the business, y'all don't know what y'all are talking about. So it's going to be a teaching moment.
Never in his life, Cease expected that Diddy would go down so low as to eliminate his own artist to profit on his name and legacy. However, it happened. Biggie's passing away was a devastating blow to Lil Cease, robbing him not only of a friend and mentor, but also leaving a void in the rap world that could never be filled.
No matter what we was going through, we ain't wish that on nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely not. No matter what was going on.
In the aftermath of his friend's passing, Cease faced the daunting task of carrying on his friend's legacy. He continued to make music and remained active in the hip-hop scene, but the absence of Biggie cast a long shadow over his journey. He can't seem to get over this loss and wants the culprit behind his friend's demise to be punished. And if you check the comments on social media, he's not alone in this. As one person commented, "I don't see how he slept for so long. Diddy got so much blood on his hands." And another user added, "The evidence is slowly but surely coming for both Biggie's and Tupac's shooting. All fingers are pointing straight to Diddy. His end in the rap game and as a free celebrity is near." Well, this mystery will no longer remain hidden. More witnesses come forward to speak against Diddy. And what do you think about this, guys? Is Diddy truly behind the shooting of his own artist? And he karma ever find his door? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to check my other videos. Well, that's it for now.